Hello, welcome back to Delight Channel. Good to have you back. We have been talking about leading in the workplace over the last couple of weeks, and that is part of our bigger Career Made Simple series that we've been tracing for a couple of months now. And if you watched last week, we landed at the point where we were focusing on team formation. And I said this week I was going to then move it to, for each stage in the team formation process, what is the role of the leader? Just in case you've forgotten, I identified 5 stages for the team formation journey. Number 1, remember? Yes, forming. The second is storming. The third is norming. The fourth is performing, and the fifth is adjourning. Now, if you will be successful as a leader, you need to know what happens in each of these stages, what your role should be in each of these stages, such that by the time the team is adjourning, you will have trophies to show, you will have relationships to show, you will have developments to show that will last beyond whatever else has happened in the course of the journey. And that really is the hallmark of a successful leader. Now, let's go phase by phase, do a quick recap of what goes on in that phase, and then show you what the leader should be trying to be in that phase. So phase number 1, that is the forming stage. In the forming stage, everybody's trying to be nice, everybody's trying to be polite, staying out of each other's way, minimal conflict, minimal quarrel, just generally forming. What should the leader be doing at this time? This is the time where the leader becomes the visioner. Is articulating the vision. Remember the elements of leadership that we spoke about: visioning and communication. This is where visioning happens. This is where communication happens. Remember that they are all individuals brought from different places, and at first they are just a group. This is when you need to talk and talk. In fact, Jack Welch says that until you get sick of hearing those things yourself, you probably have not said it enough. You need to paint the vision. You need to make it plain. You need to define it in clear variables. Our vision is to expand into 20 countries, is to expand into X territories. We have a target of $20 million in the next 12 months. You need to break it down. How does it affect you? How does it affect you? What do you need to do? Everybody in the team, from the first to the last, the highest to the lowest, must clearly understand what the vision is. They must clearly understand their role in that vision. They must clearly understand the interdependencies between roles in that vision. If you do the job of a visioner well, the next phase is the phase of storming. It becomes shorter. Why? I'll show you in a bit. What happens in the storming phase? The storming phase is where all the gloves are off and there is territorial tendencies, everybody trying to assert themselves. There is competition amongst themselves or between themselves, depending on the number of people you have there. Everybody is focusing on, I don't like this, is what I want, this is what I like. If the visioning process has been successful, in this phase, the leader becomes the umpire, the referee. Now, can you see why I said if you did a good job during the forming stage, the storming becomes lighter. It's easy for everybody to now see what is major from what is minor. Because in the middle of the contest, you have already defined the rules of the game. You have said there will be 11 players. You have said we are going to play for 40 minutes against 45 minutes. So the quarrel that will now ensue is easy to quickly sort between what is important, what is not important, what is critical, what is not critical, what is major, what is not major. And as a referee at that point, you are more objective because it is less likely you will be seen to be taking sides, because you have made your requirement very clear when you were going through the forming stage. Now, if you do a good job in the forming stage, then the norming stage is easier to achieve. What happens in the norming stage? The norming stage is where, after all the conflicts and everybody is tired, the rules of engagement between and among themselves become clearer. The rules of engagement between the team and external parties becomes clearer. So from the storming, norms, rules, standard begins to emerge. What is the role of the leader here? The leader in this phase becomes the legislature, the National Assembly. The leader now is the one reducing all the outcomes of the conflict into a book of laws, the norms. So if you come late, you buy breakfast for everybody. Do we agree? It becomes you agree. So if you hit your target, you have scored 3. If you exceed it materially, you have scored 4. If you exceed it significantly, you have. So all these rules now get codified. So in the norming stage, the leader is the legislature, writing the constitution, writing the law, making sure it is clear, trying to take away all the ambiguities that can arise from different interpretation, so that everybody understands the basis, the terms of engagement, and it is then easy to take it forward. Am I making sense? Okay, let's go. So we've spoken about forming, we've spoken about storming, we've spoken about norming, and we said during forming, the leader is what? Is a visioner. During storming, the leader is what? Is an umpire, is a referee. During norming, what is the leader? The leader is the legislature. All right. Now, when you now get to performing, what does the leader become? Guess. The leader becomes the cheerleader. All of a sudden, you know, the first 3 phases, he's in the middle of the game, telling them to stop, telling them to start, trying to moderate, trying to resolve conflict, all of that. But when you hit a performing team, the leader should get out of the way of the team. Now the team understands their own dynamics. They know how to play. They know who to pass to. They know when to pass. They so understand themselves that all of a sudden the leader just fades. Unfortunately or fortunately, this is also where the leader shines. But he now not shine because of himself as an individual. He shines because of the kind of result that the team keep churning out week after week. So the leader now becomes the cheerleader. He is not worried about the output. He is worried about the people. He will show up one day and just buy everybody lunch packs without notice. Yay! Everybody's look. So there's always a surprise. The leader becomes the chief motivator, cheering the team on, clearing the pathway for them, resolving their problems. He is not involved in the game anymore. He is handed over to the team because now the team is performing. That is a great place to be. When you achieve the process of building a group of people to become a performing team, don't ruin it by trying to show that you are still there. Don't ruin it by getting into the game. You have done your job. Now relax and enjoy the trophy. Take pleasure. Take pleasure in the outcome. All right. Don't force your way into the game because all of a sudden, and this is what happens to most leaders, when it comes to performing stage, all of a sudden it looks like they've lost their identity. They start to look for themselves. They wonder whether they are still relevant. Oh yes, you are relevant. Your relevance is the allegiance of the team. Your relevance is the output of the team. Your relevance is the trophy delivered by the team. Okay, so it is this point that most leaders mess it up. And you need to know this to make sure you don't fall into that trap. Now, let me run along very quickly. And if the team now has to adjourn, can you imagine what you become as the leader? That is if you are still alive yourself. Then the leader becomes the undertaker. The leader becomes the undertaker. Now tries to shake everybody goodbye, organize send forth for everybody, tries to ensure there is smooth transition from one point to the other, new members joining the team, some members leaving the team, some changing roles in the team. It can be tough, it can be emotional, but when you do this well, you make the departure long lasting. Don't kill that guy because he wants to pursue something else. Rather than being a block for him to move, facilitate his movement. Wherever he goes, he becomes an alumnus. Wherever he goes, he becomes an advocate for your brand, for your company. Because either way, he may still leave. Why do you then want to leave on a quarrelsome, unhappy note? So help him along, because it's a journey, it's not a destination. And if you are still within the same organization but moving to different teams, if you make it a tidy discharge, a tidy dismantling, every time you see, there's always a memory to share, there's always an incident to share, there's always one nice story to tell, and those are the fabrics with which our lives are woven. I think I need to stop here today. But this is very deep, and I recommend that you try and watch this again. Depending on where you are in your journey, if you are a leader at some, you have to deal with forming a team. If you know where your team is and you know what your role is, it is then easy for you to bring forth the right behavior, the right involvement, the right attitude, so that you can accelerate the process of your team getting to becoming a performing team, and the rest, they say, will be history. Thanks for your attention today. Thanks for your time. I have enjoyed myself sharing these tips with you. And next week, we are going to move this forward to then say, while the team is performing, what do you need to do? How do you keep the fire burning? How do you ensure they do not derail until you have to do an adjourning? That is the agenda for next week. Make it a date. Until then, don't forget, T-Mac, as usual, is still my name. And all I'm trying to do is what? Make a little difference. Thanks for being here this week, and see you next time. Bye.